guitar. Oh, okay. Yeah. So how have you gone about detaching from this material?
So I've always been aware of my attachments. Like, the biggest one I had was alcohol. Severe alcoholic. I mean, alcohol was like a bottle to a baby. I wanted it. I had to have it. It made me comfortable. So, I had to get rid of that alcohol first of all, because that inebriated mind was just, the first thing I got rid of was alcohol. And because I was an alcoholic for so long, and I had buried so many decades of trauma and abuse and problems and issues and never dealt with a goddamn thing, after getting sober, it was overwhelming. There's just so much. So what I had to do, that's why writing this out has helped, because now I've gotten rid of that superfluous shit. Like, I've worked through my childhood, I've worked through those issues. I've worked through my, my issues with my mom, so I was able to start working through those issues by sitting with things instead of running away and grabbing alcohol and and numbing myself. Yeah, actually being able to sit and walk through and work through those things. And so, again, I guess before alcohol, Brennan, 7 years ago, I started fasting. Shit. Yeah, 7 years ago. Yeah, so 7 years ago, and that was after my last brain injury prior to this one, I was just that desperate, like, my body was so fucked. I was doing everything, like, I was living in survival. I was getting up every day literally like a scared cat just trying to survive. I mean, it was bad because I was in such bad physical and mental condition, psychological condition, coming out over a year after my last TBI, that I was reaching for anything, and I had never thought about fasting. It never even crossed my mind because I was told I was hypoglycemic when I was in the military. And so, you can't, you're hypoglycemic, what do they tell you? Well, make sure you don't go more than a couple hours without, always keep candy on you, always make sure your blood sugar's up, always make sure you're getting that hit, so you just walk away and trust the expert, right? So, I thought fasting was I didn't even consider it. But it got put on me anyways. It got put on me. I was desperate, and it got put on me, and I started fasting. It was the most amazing thing I ever did, because it really dropped a lot of this confusion. It really dropped a lot of this programming. It really dropped a lot of this hoodwinking that I've been doing to myself, and I had to get real, because I now had to face the fact that I've been going around lying to everybody that I had hypoglycemia and that I couldn't fast, which was complete bullshit. I proved that wrong. Now I had to go away around with the fact that you can fast, you can go days without eating, and it's perfectly fine, and actually it's necessary for your fucking body. So you break all these fucking mental barriers, and these beliefs, again, going back to beliefs.
And those are big, because those have to do with your survival, your health.
Yeah, in my own body, like, we go to these goddamn experts and these doctors and tell them, oh, please, doc, tell me what's going on with me. Motherfucker, you know your body better than anybody else. It's you're your own doctor. You know what I mean? You're putting your faith and belief in this cocksucker. And that cocksucker back when I was in the military told me I had hypoglycemia and I better not go so long without eating. And I'm not the only one. Since I found fasting, I've tried to tell other people how great it is, and man, most of the guys that I've ever talked to about fasting, their reason, they just blow me off immediately. Why? Because they have hypoglycemia. And even when I tell them, dude, I had hypoglycemia, they don't care, because that's my experience.
It's not the same as mine.
Yeah, it's not mine. You don't even know what I go through. So it's pulling that faith and belief away from those experts and those authorities that we've given our worship and our attention into, and putting that attention back in ourselves and realizing that we're the expert, and trusting ourselves, But yeah, so fasting, man, fasting is the most powerful thing I've done, because fasting literally means not eating. So, which to me, in my mind, means not consuming. And I have come to find now, come to remember that we are a self-contained, self-reliant system.
You know,
So, if I have integrated that into my mind and my body is performing as such in healing, then why am I going to, everything up, then you get that mindset, everything you put in your mouth is a toxin, and you understand that. It's just a natural order of things, and there's no guide, there's no teacher, there's no Jesus, there's no savior, there's nobody
knowledge.
There's nobody walking you through the steps. There's nobody when you cry out and you go, "Oh God, I don't know what to do." No, it is you. You are literally sitting with that anxiety, and instead of before we were taught with that anxiety, give it to Jesus, give it to God, give it to. And instead of doing that, if we are just sitting there and going, well, every time I give it to this cocksucker, when I come back a year later and look, it's still all there. Everything's still the same, So instead of playing that insanity game and going, okay, well, I'm going to sit with this, I'm going to take care of myself, and you will. Because that's just the natural process of things. Your mind will get rid of the superfluous shit.
Well,
your mind will get rid of the confusion. Your mind you'll slowly, if this is what you want, is to heal and to get away, and you are tired. Let's say you are an addict. We're all addicts in some way. I guarantee 95% of people are food addicts.
TV addicts, entertainment addicts.
Yeah, man. Yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're all addicts, so we're just dealing with our addictions. That's
and all this addiction has to do with coping to the unnatural way of things.
Yes, and these addictions are the only reason we have them is because of all the pain and abuse we've suffered that has gone unchecked, and is just around us constantly, and we're living with every day, and it makes you anxious. Mm-hmm. And then you got to get rid of that anxiety. When you put something in your mouth, or you go out there and shoot a drug in your vein, or you put that liquor in, it helps with that. It gets rid of that anxiety. You take those pills, like you go to the doctor, they want to give you pills for anxiety. They got everybody on anxiety pills, but all you're doing again is just putting a Band-Aid on a fucking broken leg.
Yeah.
You're just, how many times you can keep on putting a Band-Aid on that thing until you fucking take care of it and heal it,
No, I see a lot of people my age, on depression pills, on shit doesn't do nothing but put a Band-Aid on you. Like you see it make them fine for a bit, but they still have all those emotions, they still have all those thoughts, they still have all that trauma, they still have all that visions of abuse, they still have all that, and the pill doesn't do anything but alleviates the pain. It's another addiction.
It masks the symptoms. And see, that's the problem. They say the war on cancer. Cancer is your friend. Cancer is our natural body's reaction to toxins. Mm-hmm. And what it does is the cells, they surround the nasty toxins in us, and they surround it and hold it, right? And then it becomes it metastasizes and becomes a clump. Right, and then we've got to remove that cancer, and it helps us because that way we're not toxic running around and then just kill over with these toxins. So it conglomerates them in the body. So they're doing the war on cancer, the war on the body's natural processes of defending itself against all your guys' superfluous toxins and poisons you're throwing at it every day.
Well, the other thing, like people are like, don't eat this because it creates mucus in the body, which is true. You don't want to create mucus in the body, but people they demonize mucus. But mucus is what's keeping us alive from putting all this poison and toxin in our bodies.
The natural body's response to something you put in there, the mucus helps move it out. Mm-hmm. Yes. And there's so many other natural responses to the body that the medical industry wants to shut down. Yeah. Just like with the vaccines, instead of letting your body naturally build up an immunity to something, they want to give you a fucking vaccine and with all this shit, it's crazy, man. And all it is just pulling you away from your power. It's constantly, everything we're sitting here talking about is just so obvious, I guess, to me and you now, because we've been living in it so long, but it's just pulling you away from your power, pulling your attention away from yourself, and you're just putting it everywhere else.
Yeah, because getting it when my dad opened me up to the fasting and all that, like I put a lot of attention. All I needed to do was fast, and I could have gotten my healing from that. But instead, I spent hours, I wrote notebooks, just learning all about fasting. And I literally learned nothing more than what I
than where you're at now. Yeah,
just,
don't eat.
just through my experience. Like I learned. I mean, I took courses. I got certified in fasting and keto, like things like that. Didn't learn any more than just through my own experiences. You know, because I had to learn all the science on it, what chemicals are being released, what state of the body's in. It's like there's so much crazy shit, but it's just as simple as, well, let me just do a 48 and see how my body responds. And be aware the whole time.
Yes.
That I learned the most about.
Yes.
That I learned so much about fasting and, you know, breath work, all that. Breath work, oh my God, you could get lost in for 10 years because they're coming out with all these different ways of breathing. It's like, and my one buddy, Jacobian, he loves doing fast-paced breathing. I don't think I've ever seen him sit down and slowly breathe. It's always fast breath out the mouth. I mean, just rough and hard. And for me, I've seen that the breath work is as simple as slowing your breath down. Try to get as less breaths per minute as you can, and that'll keep you in a state of calm and in control. And and it's as simple as that. But they, you know, none of the breath work, that food, oh my gosh, all kinds of things. If food is as simple as, well, if it doesn't come from nature, then I probably should, you know, it's probably highly processed and got things
that's
in
simple,
it.
right?
Like, it's as simple as that. But no, we have to go to college to learn that an apple is good to eat.
Yeah.
You know, we have to learn that vegetables and fruit are good to eat.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and that's what they do through their systems of governance is they make us feel inferior. You know, that's what they do from the day we're born. We're not enough. You have to learn more. You have to learn more and more and more. And then the problem is with all this fucking science, like you're talking about on the fasting, this shit changes every fucking 6 months. They're updating, changing. Fucking,
it's different.
It's like, man, it's a never ending. You're back over here in the black hole.
yeah.
You're back over in the black hole. As soon as you get any of that knowledge, any of that fucking, like you said about the, you know, about all of it, even the breathing, you know, fuck, they want to teach you how to breathe.
It's as simple as,
People are taking over the breathing industry.
yo.
Whoever would have thought we would be in a day and age where people are taking over the breathing industry and charging you to teach you how to breathe?
Right.
So, so that's a great point, Brandon. It all comes back to just reclaiming yourself, because think of your attention as a gold bar, right? And you've put your gold bar everywhere. Well, now it's time for you to take all those gold bars back. You know, it's time for you to take all your attention back from everything else and start using your common sense. Quit caring what the groupthink says. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, you shouldn't think about that. Oh, it doesn't matter. No, and you process. It's only you. You're the only thing that matters in this whole world is you. You know, you are so important. Take care of yourself. You know, but instead everybody wants to get distracted. Everybody wants to fucking think that they don't know enough, that they need to learn
That
more.
is very important though. It's not like, you know, to get on this journey, you have to start fasting, you have to start breathing correctly, you have to start eating correctly. No, I feel like going about it with the mind is very important before doing all that, because your body will just naturally do that through your new way of reasoning and coming from truth, fact, and reality. But also working on it like this with the mind, another thing we and you can do is just being aware before you reach for that next dopamine pleasure. Be aware of how anxious you get and how much you need it, you feel you need it. Like just becoming aware in every moment, becoming aware as much as you can, and working on the constructs of your mind. I think that is such a solid foundation that'll lead you into making the right decisions, choosing the right things for your body, choosing the right things for your mind, letting go of the superfluous. You know, it'll just naturally happen because those superfluous things don't fall under the truth, fact, and reality.
Nice.
And the reasoning of things.
Nice. Yeah, exactly.